important one. We're just sitting here at the table. And I think he's doing interviews, so he'll be here in just a moment. But we'll go ahead and get started. We've had a couple of health issues and some things that are tough. So we're going to ask Tracy to pray before we get started. And if you will join us, good, if you will. Thank
Yes,
you, Tracy.
please silence your cell phones today also for our work session if you don't mind. God with me, Heavenly Father, we glorify you first for this beautiful day. We thank you, Father, for all of our visitors who are with us today, Lord. We pray that all the work that we do around this table today, Lord, would be in the best interest of our students and our state. We're so blessed for the opportunity to be leaders, Lord, and this room is, and the room next door is just full of leaders. Father, fill us with your wisdom and your guidance and your anointing over each of the roles that we play. Father, this morning our hearts are heavy for Dr. Richardson. She's suffered a loss very close to her, and we pray for the family and friends. Father, be with Dr. Long and give him safety this morning and bless his family, Father. And we just pray that there would be nothing but good outcomes for his family this morning. We pray for Dr. Reynolds, Lord. We pray for a healing, Father, and that you would watch over him and take care of him, Father. And again, we just acknowledge you first and foremost in our lives. We pray that everything we do would be for your glory, for others' gain, and for our good. In Christ, amen.
Amen. And also, Mrs. Ziegler had to leave this morning. Her husband got sick, and so she was taking him back home to Mobile.
Praying for you, Jack.
That's right, Jack. Anyway, I see Dr. Mackey is coming in. I think the first item on the agenda, and I'm not seeing it here, is Dr. Jeter. Is that right? Yes. I have heard Dr. Jeter's presentation, and it's very good. Anytime we can get information about school safety and how to keep our schools safer, it's good information.
Thank you. And good morning, everyone. Good morning. Of course, we have a packed house. See the mouse moving now. It will be the School Security Act. Yes, that appears to be you.
Thanks.
Whoever is controlling the mouse, yeah, that's it.
And our local boards of education will really benefit from hearing this today.
Well, perfect timing. But again, good morning, everyone. Dr. Mackey, State Board members, and all of our visitors. I am pleased to be before you this morning for the first time since I've been an employee, and I have very important information to share with you, and it is the School Security Act. Most of our LEAs are familiar with this, but some may not be if they're new hires or what have you. So we've been going around the state, and here lately going into LEAs when invited to present the information. All right, okay, there we go. The school safety falls under support services, which is my area here at the department, and we are under the leadership of Mr. Jason Swan and myself, Assistant State Superintendent for Support Services. My administrator for facilities and safety is Dr. Johnny Whaley, and this is Dr. Whaley to my right. And our two specialists are right behind me, Ms. Stephanie Rosetta, if you'll wave your hand, and Ms. Tanisha Purdue. So we make up the school safety team under support services. So an introduction to the law, and I'll be happy to entertain questions. There's a slide at the end for questions if you have them, or if you raise your hand and pause me throughout, I'll be happy to entertain your questions. So here's just a general introduction if you're not familiar with the law. All of this comes directly from the law, and the law begins with terminology of various phrases and words to ensure that everyone understands who we're referencing when you see the word. The official name of the act is the School Security Act. For a while we were saying School Safety Law, but once it was signed by the governor, the official name became official, School Security Act. Where you see ALEA referenced, that's the Alabama State Law Enforcement Agency. Board, where you see the word board, it's the State Board of Education. Department is the State Department of Education. School is any public K-12 school, and that includes charter schools. So if it's a public charter school, this law applies to them as well. School Emergency Operation Plans. For short, you'll hear us say EOP, or you may hear superintendents or principals say EOP. That's your Emergency Operation Plan. That's mandatory and has been for a number of years. But an EOP is a plan adopted by each local board of education pursuant to Code 16144 or section. And then school facility, this piece is very important because when we think of school safety or school security, we tend to think of only the traditional building, but the law tells us that school facility is any building operated in connection with a school, inclusive of housing classrooms, administration, or athletic facilities. So if there is an annex building, or if you have a field house, all of this is under the law. So we've summarized this for you because of time. We have a more extended version when we're presenting to LEAs or at conferences. Key components of the law. The law requires periodic inspections of school security aspects within the schools of all public K-12 schools and facilities. The law requires schools to establish or the state to establish the school mapping program with the LEA, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. The law will provide for grants, and the law requires that each LEA designates an employee as district safety coordinator, and I'll discuss that with you. Now, before we go out, there is a rubric. This is what we are looking for and rating our school districts on. All LEAs receive a copy of the rubric at least a month in advance, if not even sooner, so they can prepare themselves and get ready. The graphic that you have, or that you'll see throughout my presentation, are actual snippets from the law. And the bullet points are, we've just summarized it for you. But the law tells us the board shall establish criteria for school security inspections, and that's the rubric. I'll show you that in just a moment. The criteria shall include a rubric to be used to evaluate the school facility. So there are guides and there's a range of how we evaluate them. And the board shall review and update the criteria and rubric to reflect best practices relating to school security. So over time, you all know things change. So this law gives us flexibility to update and adjust that rubric as needed. So some of the pieces or components within the rubric that we are looking for when we go out. We're looking for those school security cameras, bed spots, or what have you, alarm systems, locks on exterior and interior doors, emergency escapes, fire extinguishers, we're checking those, intercoms and communication equipment. The schools have to have a way to communicate with everyone in the building, panic buttons, and any other physical measures used to strengthen the security of school facilities, school buses, and school grounds. There is a laundry list of things we are looking for, and our rating helps if they don't have these things in place, and you'll see it in just a moment. Our rating or chart helps them get it in place and share it with the board. The superintendents will share it with the board members. The school inspector shall be non-biased, and there's your snippet from the law where it tells us that. School inspectors shall be non-biased with some background experience relating to school security. They can be retired SROs, retired school administrators, or retired safety coordinators, not just a random person in the building or who worked in the building. They must be someone with knowledge or who have had knowledge of school security in schools. And we have a good team going right now. A couple more positions still open, and we're getting those hired. But we are actively out there doing those inspections. So here's a copy of the rubric, and it's really small, board members. I know you can't read it, but we can get you all a readable copy. But school security inspection reports. Each school facility shall receive a rating. This is directly from the law. Along with the rating, recommendations to improve school security shall be provided to each local board of education. So once the inspectors complete the report to the right, the team writes up a few more things, and they share it with myself and the superintendent, who then in turn should share it with his or her board. Each rating may be assigned the color green, yellow, or red, and that's what we're using as a map. So to the right, if a school district receives green, whatever area that was that we inspected, they're doing well, good to go, don't worry about it, keep it going as is, or enhance it if they so choose. Yellow, there may be minor needs, minor adjustments. Those are the things we write out. We noticed A, we recommend you do these three things to adjust or make A better. And then if there's red, it's a serious need support, and it's something that we would share with the superintendent to get with their board and whomever their staff members are to address that immediately. So school mapping is the next part of the law. And as I referenced earlier, it's covered, or it's the duty of ALEA. School mapping program will be established within ALEA. The first bullet of summary: mapping data shall be accessible within the software platforms used by agencies that provide emergency services to the specific school. It shall be compatible with the school security software platform in use by the public K-12 school, shall be printable and in digital format if so need, and no entity may be required to purchase additional software or pay a fee to view or assess school mapping data. So if a vendor goes to a school district to say, I can sell you this, it'll do this for mapping, let's look into it, let's sit down and talk about it. The law does not require school districts to purchase anything in addition to. And we really, ALEA is handling this 100%, but we wanted to ensure that you all knew that per the law. Because the LEAs in the beginning were still coming to us as it relates to mapping, and we've reminded them throughout that that's ALEA and they have it going. So another big piece of the law are district safety coordinators. And you may be thinking, well, aren't these things already in place prior to the law? In most districts, yes. But the law just says, mandate, yes, that you have a district safety coordinator. The district safety coordinator does not have to be a new hire. The superintendent can appoint these duties to someone, and that's what most districts were already doing. So you have a graphic directly from the law, but in summary, in the bullet points, the district safety coordinator is required to complete a multitude of trainings, drills, and other duties throughout the year. The district safety coordinator will collaborate with the local board of education to adopt policies relating to the sharing of camera data, and that's with their superintendent. And the district safety coordinator reviews the EOPs by September, and this is mandated per the law. They will review those EOPs by September 1st of each year and report to the superintendent any of their schools or administrators who do not have an EOP in place. And hopefully the district safety coordinator and the districts, if they're doing their job as they should, they will know well before if a school is trending not toward having their EOP complete. And they can troubleshoot that before. Now, the law also now requires trainings for this individual. And again, as I mentioned, it did not have to be or does not have to be anyone that the district hires or they add a position. They just can add these duties to an existing position. And that's what most of our districts have done. As it relates to their required trainings, within 1 year, they have to do this within the first year and annually being designated. The following training shall be completed: emergency operation plan implementation, lockdown best practices, relocation, evacuation, and reunification training, weather and sheltering, behavioral threat assessment, and facility security. Some have this training, some do not prior to the law, but we offer it for free, and it's mandated per the law. Also, as it relates to the district safety coordinator, they must attend at least 4 safety training sessions annually. Before, it was recommended that they attend 2. The law tells us they must attend 4. And no more than 1 credit, as relates to this training, can be granted for attending a vendor-based session. So that means they don't have to go pay to attend a conference. They really can get it all from us. But if they so choose to go to Tazro or wherever they would like, they can, but only 1 can be vendor-based. And there are multiple opportunities from us, from the State Department of Education, for training, along with various agencies that offer training throughout the year. And we just held our monthly one yesterday. So here's a checklist. We created this as it relates to the law for schools, for LEAs, so they can ensure they have every piece of the law in place as they should. They receive this from us. We can send it. If they lose it, we can send it at any time. But we also use it and when we're going out and about to ensure that all components are in place along with the rubric. But the checklist: organize, administer, and attend at least 1 school-based lockdown drill and 1 other drill. So the safety coordinator in the school district has to ensure that they are doing that and that each school is implementing all of these drills. Organize, the coordinator is still organizing, overseeing this. Organize and oversee the school safety meeting at each school. The law requires each school, with at minimum the following public safety officials to attend: law enforcement officers, local firefighter, EMA, school mental health coordinator. Now, in our conversations as we've trained throughout the last year and a half, many LEAs will say, yes, we're doing this, we do this all the time, but we will bring them back to the law to ensure that all of these individuals are attending. Not just some of them, but all of them are attending, and that must take place annually.
One question.
Yes, ma'am.
They don't have a school mental health person. I know it said at minimum, so if they don't have one, it's okay. if they
It's
have
okay,
others.
we'll work with them, and what we usually do if they say we don't have a mental health coordinator,
Right.
we'll look at it as a social worker
Okay.
or someone close to that.
Okay.
But we
Okay.
will handle that case by case, because they do now have to send us documentation of this meeting.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
But there is one at every district level.
Should be, correct. Yes, ma'am. Because funding is provided.
Should be.
Yes, sir.
If
Yes,
you can
ma'am.
find one.
Now, if we find one, we'll work
I mean,
with,
if we can find one to be there.
oh, I
That's
see,
what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Some areas may not have
May
the
not,
personnel to
yeah.
hire.
I don't know, I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yes, but every district has been
Should.
allocated funding for a mental health coordinator. That is correct. And then confidentiality as it relates to the data. Now, there's the blurb directly from the law, and the piece, we highlight certain portions of the law for LEAs, confidential and shall not be considered public record, may not, and we'll go over that. In 2024, here's the data of what we've done so far. 45 school inspections completed between November and May, and schools were randomly selected. In 2025-26, 59 school inspections have been completed so far. We follow the compliance monitoring schedule. One of the other areas I oversee is compliance monitoring, and we have a schedule for compliance monitoring. And since this law has been the law, we tack that on, and so we follow that same schedule with a few other areas. And percentage of schools, if you look at the bottom right, you see the raw number. Number of schools with completed inspections in 2025, 59. Total number of schools on compliance monitoring schedule, 235 in all. So we have a big job, which I'm so thankful for Dr. Mackey and my supervisors for allowing me to build an actual team to get this done. So we have 235 in all on the schedule. And the graphic shows you the percentage. 25% have been completed so far, with 75% more to go. And we're on target for that. Any questions? That is a quick summary because I know it's not the only one on the agenda. Any general questions, and I can go back or
How
information.
often do schools and systems have to go through this?
Every 5 years, once every 5
Once
years.
every
Yes,
5 years.
yes, ma'am. And that is consistent with our compliance monitoring schedule.
Well, I had the opportunity to sit in on your session, and it was awesome. So I just want to thank you for coming and sharing
Thank
the
you, thank you,
information with us this morning. Great job.
thank you. Dr. Chestnut and Dr. Manning received the extended version of it, so this was a simplified version, so thank you both.
Well, you did a great job on both.
Thank you.
so much. So, thank you very much.
Putting your things away, let me say again, a thank you. I didn't realize this is the first time we brought Dr. Judy in
Yes.
front of y'all. We didn't do that again more.
No.
She's been a great addition to the team, and bringing on Johnny White, who's been a great addition. But this is the first time we've really had this kind of a school safety section. Now, some of you will remember, the old hats will remember back, we used to have a section here, but way before my time, called Prevention and Support. Oh gosh, what was her name that used to play with her necklace all the time? I'll think of it in a minute. Miss Martin will hear, she'd know it. And she was way before Dr. Lewis. And they did do some inspections, but not nearly this involved. And this is the first time, though, that the legislature has also given us some money. I know y'all have asked for more money this coming year, but we did get about $15 million this year for school safety specifically. And we did take some off the top of that before we doled that out. It ended up being like $9 per child that went out to the districts. But we took some off the top to specifically address issues that this inspection team had found. Because we want to make sure to address the most egregious needs first. So we've never been able to do that before this work, and thank y'all very much for doing it. And And I know she's saying, when can I sit down? But the other thing they do, this is the basis of what they do. It's the foundation, and that's important. But also know that when y'all see, sometimes y'all send them to me before I get them, and sometimes I send them to you. Like there's an alert at a school, there's a lockdown, they immediately respond to those things too. If there's a storm, Dr. Whaley's been on the road, like there's a storm and something happens to school, he's there the next morning to walk through the school with their local team and an architect sometimes. It's the foundation is doing these inspections, but it's so much more than that. And it's the first time we've ever had a team that could really help schools work on facilities and think proactively into the future. What do we need to be doing? So I'm very proud of the work they're doing.
Because Dr. Mackey, that hearing you say facilities, it goes hand in hand with our
Yeah.
safety, so thank you so much.
Yeah, they're doing great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jeter. And before we started the agenda, I really wanted to brag on our superintendent a little, and he was a 10 here. So several of us attended the Youth Leadership Development Program this past week at the Birmingham Botanical Gardens. And if you have the Youth Leadership Development Program in your system, great. If you don't, get it. It's good. It's great for the students. And it was a day of recognition for some outstanding people in this state. And one of those individuals was the oldest living Marine veteran in Alabama. And he's from Coleman. And he is Mr. Roy Drinker, who has become a dear friend of mine. And it just thrilled me to get to be with him as he was recognized. But it also gave me a great sense of pleasure to get to watch Dr. Mackey get an award that I think it was called the Faith and somebody help me.
Something like
Faith. Anyway, I said to him, this is the best award on this program that you have received. This is the best one. And all of them were amazing. But I was so proud to be a part of this team when I watched him get that award. And yesterday, he has finished his term as the national president, I'm gonna call it not what it is, the national president of all the superintendents in the nation, okay? That's easier to understand. So he'll be bothering us more, that's what he's telling us. But anyway, he has done a fabulous job on the national stage. And he has put Alabama at the top of what's happening. And people are talking about what we are doing in Alabama for education. And I'm sure these other board members do the same thing that I do. I never go and speak to a group without saying, Alabama is so fortunate to have Eric Mackey as superintendent. I'll get off my soapbox now, but I do want to just thank him for what he does.
Very much. Thank you. Well, I really do appreciate it, and I feel the same. It's good to work with you all. We do have a lot of really good things going on, and it's good to look out across the crowd and in the room next door. I was shocked, the overflow of all these local board members and school administrators who are also helping us push this ball down the road, and we're doing a lot of good work. Part of that, I think we're back. The next thing is a new course of study. So part of that is, no,
Is that number one?
yeah, digital literacy and computer science. So we'll jump to that. Here they come. Come on. I mean, if there's any work that is changing rapidly, it is digital literacy and computer science. And so this is, it's not even, this one, we've had some folks ask, didn't we just do this? So we put this on an accelerated schedule because it is such an advanced field that is changing so rapidly. But they've been working since this time last year, about this time last year. The board appointed them about this time last year, but they've been working since, I guess, January on building us a new digital literacy and computer science course of study. And just to note, the current one Though I will say our teachers, I think our computer science teachers are building AI into everything. But we really didn't address AI in the current standards because it wasn't so much of a theme then, except in kind of college research. It is the thing that is driving computer science. So big thank you to the committee for doing this work, and thanks to our superintendent for jumping in there and willing to lead the work. And I guess I'm turning it over to you, right? You're going to start us?
Sure thing, yes, sir. Good morning, and I'll also say, I think the great work that was done in 2018, was wonderful, and I was lucky to be a part of it. But this work that's been done by this committee is outstanding, so I think you'll be really pleased with that as well. But good morning again. I do get to share an overview of the new course of study with you, and I've got my wonderful teammates here, Jamie McClung and Misty Waldrop, representing their schools, and as I represent as the chair. But this document represents more than just new standards. It's a shared vision for how we want to prepare our Alabama students for life and learning in a digital world. And for us, running from kindergarten through graduation, our goal is to ensure that every student gains skills to critically think, to act responsibly, and innovate confidently with technology. This has been a statewide collaborative effort involving our students, administrators, higher ed, and industry experts as well, and all focused on helping our students to be successful in a modern world. So as I was saying, some of the things that I'll highlight is that we took an in-depth look, and that work was collaboratively done. This process began with feedback from our educators, universities, business partners, and also supported by the Governor's Advisory Council for Computer Science. We collected feedback back in February and March, as Dr. Mackey mentioned. This good work started, in January, nearly a year ago, and then revised that draft for public in August, as you'll recall. But then we'll have our final opening comment time is coming up the 13th through the 27th. This work has been very inclusive and very transparent because we want to make sure these standards reflect both national best practices and Alabama's local priorities. The end result is a course of study that is truly by educators for educators. As you'll see, this wonderful looking committee, and the best and the brightest, okay? And so we also want to make sure that we take a minute to just reflect on this outstanding team. I want us to do a special thanks for our State Department team that worked with us, Dr. Busman, Amanda Dykes, Dawn Morrison, Andrea Taylor, and all the ATM staff as well that provided lots of support to all of us as we work through this. Our committee does represent every grade band and is brought together by classroom teachers and tech leaders, administrators, and higher ed as well. Each person brought unique perspective that allowed us to create both something that's instructionally sound and workforce relevant. Together, Alabama will continue to lead the way. And so thank you, Dr. Mackey, for your good work. And for all the things that we're working on to make Alabama stand out as a leader. Again, here's a representative list of all the districts and all the partners that we have that have been a part of this good work. And then this is the conceptual framework. So, at the heart of this course of study is a conceptual framework that connects digital literacy, computer science, and responsible technology use. It's built around equity, integration, progression, and making sure that every child, regardless of background, has access to meaningful digital learning. The framework promotes a balance between technical skills, problem solving, and digital citizenship so that students not only know how to use technology, but know how to use it wisely. And while coding and artificial intelligence are part of this work, our vision is much broader than that. It is about preparing students to communicate, collaborate, and create in a rapidly changing world. And this framework is designed to grow our students from curiosity in these early years. Missy's going to walk us through the elementary, and to confidence and leadership by graduation, and Jamie will take us through that.
All right, today I am excited and honored to present the standards for kindergarten through 5th grade. The standards are broken into 2 main grade bands at the elementary level, kindergarten through 2nd grade and 3rd through 5th grade, and each build upon the other through 5 core themes. The standards are designed to equip students with foundational knowledge and skills for thriving in a digital world. This strong foundation is imperative to ensure that our students are successful in mastering digital literacy and computer science. As you can see, the standards focus on helping students recognize how technology shapes the world around them. They begin developing essential digital literacy skills and establish a strong understanding of basic computer science concepts. And most importantly, these standards emphasize the growth of problem-solving abilities that will scaffold their progress as they move through this course of study. And in kindergarten through second grade, the standards are designed to support hands-on and exploratory learning. You can see that the 5 themes that are a part of our conceptual framework really focus on foundational skills for effective problem solving. The students will dissect problems into steps, recognize patterns, and use logical thinking to solve problems. Additionally, even in these early years, we want to teach our students to be responsible, safe, and kind when using technology. And the emphasis in many of these standards at this level is that students will achieve the learning with guidance and support. This helps students become comfortable with digital tools that are age appropriate and activities that are age appropriate. So really at this stage, it's about opening the door to the digital world in a safe and guided environment. And moving on to 3rd through 5th grade, these standards are all about strengthening and deepening the students' foundational skills through application. So students have the opportunity to work both collaboratively and grow independently to become confident and creative problem solvers. Students will develop their perseverance as computational thinkers as they begin to debug algorithms and clarify real-world challenges. These standards provide the opportunity for students to grow their awareness of their place in this digital world. And research skills step into the spotlight as students research and communicate ideas effectively, create digital artifacts, and exchange information in digital spaces responsibly. As students engage with these standards, creativity, collaboration, and curiosity are encouraged. The groundwork that is laid in kindergarten through 5th grade is essential to ensure that the growth in digital literacy and computer science continues through their growth, through their years as a student here in Alabama.
Question. Is there any expert level of individual not included in the elementary?
As far as the committee,
Yes.
honestly, that was something that I was so excited about was in this committee is that we did have experts at every level. We had the industry partners, but we've had people who've been in the trenches teaching the current standards. And so we were able to see, okay, what has worked, what is growing our students, and where do we need improvement? So I think that expert opinion and insight was really helpful in developing these standards.
Thank you.
I'll move us on. So transitioning from elementary to middle school shifts the focus from digital literacy to computer science education. Middle school standards emphasize balancing independence with responsible technology use, empowering students to become both technically proficient and ethically aware. These students begin preparing for a future shaped by digital innovation. We have the same 5 key bands. So in 6th through 8th, computational thinking is where they strengthen problem solving using decomposition and debugging. Data science, where they analyze data to make informed decisions and explore AI. Computing systems, which deepens their understanding of networks and cybersecurity. Impact of computing, where they examine how technology shapes society and explore ethical responsibilities. Lastly, digital proficiency, which helps them evaluate online content, cite sources, and reflect on how technology affects their well-being. As students move from middle school into high school, they shift from building foundational digital skills to applying them in more advanced, real-world context. In high school, students deepen their skill competencies while preparing for post-secondary education and careers. They take greater ownership of their learning, engage in complex challenges, and develop leadership, communication, and problem-solving skills, all while mastering emerging technologies like AI. This progression ensures that Alabama students are not only digitally literate, but also future ready. In the same 5 key bands, they develop computational thinking by solving complex problems and designing algorithmic solutions for real-world challenges. Through data science, they learn to collect, organize, and interpret data to generate insights and make informed decisions. In computing systems, students explore how hardware, software, and networks interact, while also troubleshooting and optimizing performance. The Impact of Computing theme encourages students to examine the ethical, legal, and societal effects of technology. And finally, digital proficiency equips learners to use digital tools responsibly and securely to communicate, collaborate, and create in dynamic environments. I often hear my students say, Mr. McClung, I don't think I'm smart enough to take computer science, or I don't think I'm really going to like that. In every one of those words, I hear a reflection of a fear of the unknown, or the stereotypes that surround technology fields, that they're just not, they're too hard, I can't do that. In every one of those cases, I encourage my students to take just one computer science class. They'll just take one chance to explore something new and get a taste of it. And time after time, I see those students thrive. They discover that computer science is about thinking critically, solving meaningful problems, and designing innovative solutions to make a real impact. Many even change their career plans. They said, I'm going to go into computer science now. And while some may not change their plans, all come away with a deeper understanding of how computer science touches every career field, from agriculture to business, from healthcare to arts. Computer science education is not just learning code. It is about empowering students to think critically, solve problems creatively, and lead with integrity in a rapidly evolving digital world. By investing in these skills today, we're preparing Alabama students to shape the future with confidence, curiosity, and purpose.
And that's why I ask, are there experts on this committee? Because I know I don't know it. So I need to know that we had a committee of total experts that could ease my mind about it.
Yes. And can I record you saying those? I'll use that for later.
Oh, but
I'm sure you had, or I think I heard it in there in your description, but robust discussions about safety for our children. Obviously, when they're very, very young, we want to make sure nothing is introduced in the classroom digitally that would impact them negatively. Certainly not at school, because we know that they're bombarded at home and with friends. So those lower grades, I really want to protect, but as they learn to explore in the classroom, tell me about those discussions you had regarding what they will see in the classroom. Is it built into the standards?
In a lot of sections, we have that kind of built in with our cybersecurity in those aspects. There's a lot of personal security that we kind of built in with those in the high school standards. So as you're talking and discussing those concepts, we're talking even like password strengths, but also, what is phishing, what is scams, what is the common things that you're looking for, what do you get into, and even in AI, like who is this responding to you socially? Do you think that, is this a person, is there a background behind those things? So we were covering a large group of things that they're experiencing in their day-to-day life that we want to cover, and kind of just, I know as even in my parents, that all of it came new, and so they didn't have an education to kind of go over some of these things. So I think our responsibility is to kind of explain, like, here's how this process works. Here's how the computer side of this makes a bot and responds to these questions to instigate and try to get you to respond to that. And then here's these people what do they do if they get your credit card number? So some of those are very abstract, but when we talk about it in our cybersecurity and different parts of our high school curriculums, and even mine's a little bit different than Misty's, but mine's kind of, I want to talk to them about protecting their information and where their credit card comes and what happens if somebody does get their password. What do you do, and how do you respond in those situations? Sure. And then even covering cyberbullying, we still talk about that, like how fast that can go, and being anonymous, and somebody responding to somebody about being anonymous. You may think it's funny, but it's not to that person that's on the other end of that. There's still a response. I like to tell a story trying a game, and I got on a game, and I'm sure as an 8-year-old was not talking nice to me. Like, yeah. Okay, I'm done with that. Yeah. So we talk about just how to be respectful and professional, and then these are people, and there are people on the other side of this, even if you can't see them.
Right. Well, with our audience today, our local school board members, what I'm hoping that they can take away is that they've got to have a policy in place with these new standards at the local level to make sure parents are aware and involved. and understand that their children are learning about the digital world, and that we are protecting them in the standards while they're in the building with us.
Yes.
And reassure them that public school is a safe place for them to learn about the digital world, especially our littles who have, some parents have a no screen policy in their homes. Many parents do for little children. And so for those folks to be informed and to be able to express permission or not, I think is important for our young children.
Yes, and I'm very confident in the standards in that area as far as digital life, and because like you said, children have all access to technology, so we have to be that voice that gives guidance, whether they're getting it at home or not. It has to happen in the classroom. And so we were very careful to work through that. And at a younger age, it really is just about how am I staying safe in this online community. But as far as introducing tools, a lot of it at that age is hands-on and exploratory, so they're just learning the basics, so that later when they do get into a digital tool, they know how to be safe and they've learned the basics to get them there. So I'm extremely, because that's one of my passions, is keeping students safe and learning to be responsible and learning that sense of, just wellness in that area, really health. So I'm confident in the standards in that area.
I appreciate that very much.
2 years, I'm sorry, Kelly.
Dr. McClung, you were talking about trying to encourage them to take a computer science class.
Yes, ma'am.
At what are the ages where it's required to be, and then when does it become optional in our?
The law and things are changing, so it's going to be adapting here very soon. But as of right now, it was being like we've gone from having it being offered in certain grade levels and being offered in high school down to middle school, down to elementary. But as we roll into, and Amanda may tell me a date.
Class of 2032.
So it's fine. I knew it had, I got the 203.
Okay.
2032, it will become a graduation requirement that all high school students have a computer science class. So they will have it as a requirement.
32.
That's this entering kindergarten class.
Okay, that's the youth. Okay. So just trying to,
Yeah,
broaden them, like you say, to have the option.
Yes.
It's not optional. Let's try it, see if you like it.
Yes. And that's something I see on a daily basis. They don't know what it is. And so in this area, a lot of them just think it's like writing pages and pages of code and don't understand that computer science is a very broad area. Anything that touches technology and how you use it is computer science.
2 years ago, I had a member of my community to call me and say, what are we doing in our schools to address misinformation and disinformation to our students? How did you address that in this course of study?
One of our focus areas is information literacy, and so before this position that I'm in now, I was a librarian, and so those standards that were strong in our current DLCS standards, which is information literacy standards, are just as strong in this course of study as well. And so just teaching students how to evaluate online sources, what's credible, what's not credible, fact versus fiction, and of course now AI brings in a whole new aspect of that. And so I believe that our information literacy standards really do address that in several ways.
I'm going to send her a text and ask her to be sure and go and review online.
Yes.
And we do have, what board members know this already, but we got a lot of public here. So remember that we're already number 5 in the nation in computer science access. So we are leading the country in computer science, and that's all the way down. We're one of the only very few states that has it. We require computer science for graduation. Now that's not this current year. I think it's the class of 31. But we were one of the first less than a half dozen states to do that. So as they adopt this, or as they recommend this, and then the board eventually adopts it, this will be what that first graduating class will be doing, and then the ones behind them coming up through elementary school the same way. So it's been really good to see that progress. And there's a new report that is in draft stages now, a new national report that's going to shine an even brighter spotlight on Alabama's success in digital literacy and computer science. So can't say much about it yet, but it's coming. So we're still doing the work. And thank y'all for that, only because we got really good folks. And I let you, Dr. Chestnut has a question, but let me say this, I just kind of jumped through, I don't know if everybody knows everybody, Dr. Michelle Collier, Superintendent of Escambia County, who agreed to lead this work for us. So we have people all over the state, Jamie McClung from Gulf Shores, and then Misty Waldrop from Coleman City. And I didn't know you were a librarian before, so we've got folks from all over the state, of course, that came to do this work. And we have those outside reviewers too, remember, outside folks who come in, not just our educators to do this work. But I know, everybody knows it is not, it's not a paying job, and it is not taking anything off your plate. It's putting a lot more on your plate for the year that you do this work. So I want to say a big thank you to y'all and the whole committee and Dr. Collier for accepting that invitation to lead the work. And Dr. Chestnut.
Yes, I love the progression that you're showing, and I love the fact that you have included AI. I guess I do have a wonder in your progression. Does that include what kids can and will be able to do as far as the knowledge and the application of AI in your progression for this?
I think it kind of develops as well as what the content that they're studying. So as they're growing in the subject matter of the items that they're learning, it becomes more and more readily available. For instance, in high school, if you're writing a paper, asking help and asking it to look for commas or periods and helping it check grammar, that becomes important as Misty in 3 and 5. But as they grow and the content that they're in, it will become more relevant to what they're actually working on. When they start getting more to research papers and those aspects, it'll become more of a commonplace thing. Maybe in kindergarten, we might introduce, it might be Misty might help me more on that.
I mean, yeah, in the early years, we're really just introducing the concepts of, if you think of AI, artificial versus natural, so that students can begin to differentiate, because to them, it's just, they're immersed in it. And so just that, and then the concepts of machine learning, you're going to work into the ethics of how to use AI responsibly, of what you should and shouldn't do in a classroom as you get into the usage. And we're not encouraging necessarily at a young age that students are using AI. We're encouraging that they understand the concepts that get them ready to use it ethically and responsibly. But I think that goes towards, are we teaching students how to use it and not to use it? And I would say yes.
And then even as computer science education, as we go, we're talking more in high school, how is this made? How does it come up, and where does it get its information? We're talking about what is AI, how do you make it, what's behind it, rather than just prompts, and how do we use it?
That was my concern. I know there's a lot of discussion about academic integrity with the use of AI, so I was wondering if it was
Very much.
needed.
And I think that ties in, sorry.
I was just gonna say
Where it
that,
comes
I think
from.
that that's part of that policy setting for the school systems to do. I think it's gonna be so important that we provide a lot of training to our staff, but also to our community and our parents. And I think that's where we're all in for making sure that students understand, but our parents understand what students are being taught and presented. No, I didn't.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
You did a marvelous presentation.
Madam Vice President,
Yes, ma'am.
on the subject of AI, I'm not gonna say the name, but yesterday I understand the country music world had a hit introduced that was developed through AI, the voice through AI, the artist does not exist. And the song is it's a hit, and it's going like wildfire, and these young people are loving it, and they're not even listening to a real person sing. So the art world is going to have to learn how to deal with a computer voice that's not natural. Very interesting times.
That was a major conversation at the National Association of State School Board members when I went a couple of weeks ago. How are we going to deal with AI and the policies that need to be developed? So we need to really revisit and really look at. They actually provided some sample information. I intended to bring it, I just thought about it, but I'll share it with other board members.
Well, I know some school systems are already using AI in some form. that is approved by the district. And I, just as I said to them, I don't know enough to even talk about it. But I think I need to learn it. So Missy, get ready, I'm coming to see you.
Come on up.
Okay, the next item, Dr. Mackey, number 3.
So it's Accountability Day. I'm not sure who's doing our accountability. Oh, Marcus Vandiver. Dr. Vandiver, come up.
Yes, sir.
We've, the man behind the magic. He really is.
With no warrant.
Dr. Marcus Vandiver, y'all don't see him that much, but he does all of our accountability systems. He works under Shantia Washington. Miss Washington had a loss in her family last week, and so he's picked up extra things since then to make sure that everything got done and posted. So we'll turn this on this afternoon live. I've already heard from outside that some of our superintendents are proud of their scores and went ahead and released them. And I'm glad they're proud of them, but technically it's embargoed until you see it. They did get it for 2 weeks because we want them to check it first and make sure that what we're about to release is right. So you know how that is. They shouldn't be doing that, but yet I'm glad they're proud of the work they're doing. It'll go live this afternoon, and that'll be by, of course, the state grade you'll see in just a minute. The district and school level data will also be live. And then well, let me let him go. Why don't I let Dr. Vandiver go into his presentation, and then we'll come back and see what questions there are about it. But I said that, but I tell y'all, I cannot tell you how deeply I appreciate the great work that he does. And he's got a very, very, very small section of people working with him. And some of you will remember the state going back, it was in 2012 when the legislature said we had to create a state A through F report card. And for many years, then it didn't happen then. And that was one of the commitments I made to the board when I got the job, was we would do it after 6 years of delays, and we would deliver on it by the end of the year. And I was hired, of course, in April, and we did release it, and I think it went out on December 31st of that year, only because our staff worked every day during the Christmas holidays except Christmas Day to get it done, because it was just, there was no work that had been done to get it ready. So we got it done, but now here we are releasing it 6 weeks before the deadline. The deadline is it has to be out by December 31st every year, and we've made the deadline every year, but now we're doing it, and people aren't coming into the office threatening to jump out the windows because they've developed a system to get it done, and actually got it to the superintendents a couple of weeks ago, so they could look over it ahead of time. So, that's a lot of work in getting a system in place that works, so you're not scrambling at the last minute. Everything flows, and that's not it takes a lot of oil to make the machine run, and this gentleman's doing a lot of that. And working with our IT folks, I know there's a lot of that, but you kind of make everybody hold hands to get that done. And so my public thanks to you for doing that.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Absolutely. So thank you all for having me. We have our preliminary data. We can go to the next slide. This first slide is going to be our federal reporting system data. And you'll see that we have improved in every indicator except for growth, and we're off by 1/100 of a point. I think that's pretty steady. But you'll see that we've gone from an 85 to an 87. Just a testament, like Ms. Manning said, this is just a testament to the great work that Dr. Mackey and his team, they do a great job of aligning strategies to needs, and then aligning those strategies and needs to the goals. So we're doing a great job with our report card. And then if you go to the state side, you'll see the only difference here is academic achievement, because we have some state laws that we have to abide by that exclude some students and achievement. But again, we've improved in that area as well on the state side. And you'll see the others are exactly the same. Again, going from an 85 to an 87, so we have actually improved on our report card 2 whole points, which is And just to give you some back data, we've actually increased in the number of A's and B's and decreased C's, D's, and F's. So not only is Dr. Mackey and his team doing a great job, but our staff in our sections are doing a great job with our schools and the systems. We just have some great people working out in the field and here at the department. So I want to give them kudos as well for what they do. I don't do any of this stuff out in the field. I just put this information together. That's the easy part. But I think a lot of them have the tough jobs of, improving schools and helping students succeed on assessments and things of that nature, getting them to come to school, graduate, attain a college and career readiness credential. So that's where the hard work is. But we just appreciate all of what they do. And I know it's Teachers Month. We want to give them kudos as well. All of those teachers in the classroom, we call that the front line. We appreciate them as well, and the things that they do, and as well as the administration. So that's our report card there. Any questions?
Y'all ask away. This is obviously the big overview for the state data. Again, all the same data is available for every school, every district, and it's actually out there. It's public at 3 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Will
So
that be accessible on our website at 2 or
yes,
after
on the
2?
website at 2. Do you know that? I don't know the exact link. They can go to alabamaachieves.org and it's under
Reports and data, and then if you go to the side, I think it's school data. And you'll see 2 report cards there, federal and state report cards.
Will it also be in our assembly?
We can give you the link in Assembly. It's so big that I don't know if we can attach it as a document. I'll check and make sure, and we might can break it out by your district and give it to you that way. But it's such a big document to put all of them in there that it's just, I don't think it would load.
I know we're gonna have some most improved districts, some that just really, really stood out in their efforts. I hope we'll have an opportunity to recognize those folks.
So we will, after the first of the year, we'll come back, I think it'll be in February. But Ms. Martin and I have been working on that. We do that, we have the legislative recognition program for our top performers and our most improved schools. And now that the data are available, after the first of the year, we'll be recognizing them at a board meeting. And we are going to rearrange it some this year because, as y'all know, the only national recognition program we have for schools, the Blue Ribbon program, went away. And so we're going to be doing some extra things for our schools, our top growers and our top achievers this coming year to make it even more celebratory in light of that being the only program we'll have will be the board recognition program. And it'll come, I think it's usually the February board meeting when we do it, but it'll be in that winter time frame. We try to do it after the legislature comes back into session, so in the hopes that we can get legislators to come over and take a picture with their schools and those kind of things with the board members. So but legislature comes back in January, so this year that won't be such a problem. It'll be coming soon.
Oh, good.
Other questions? Anything? Again, thanks, Dr. Van.
Absolutely.
I'd like to say you can now go take a few days of rest, but you'll probably get calls this afternoon once it goes live, so don't start it yet.
We'll make sure we get those calls handled for you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You always do. So that is good news for the state. The next 2 items are recognition of 2 of our schools. These are national winners. These are national ESEA schools. We used to call it, so maybe you remember again, I go back, but we used to call them National Title I schools. But the Elementary Secondary Education Act, each year the federal government recognizes 2 schools, I think 2 in each state, that are doing outstanding work. They have to be obviously Title I schools, and we have 2 this year that are being recognized. That's Meek Elementary School in Winston County, District 7, and then New Bethel Elementary in Colbert County, also in District 7. So both of them Northwestern schools. They go to a national meeting to get this award, but we'll recognize them at our December board meeting. We normally also in December board meeting would recognize the National Blue Ribbon Schools. Again, I mentioned that we don't have those this year, but we are going to work something special into our recognition after the first of the year. But it'll make the December agenda a little. If you look back at last year's December agenda, it's like this long. This year's pretty truncated. I guess I just keep going through these. Some of these are pretty short. Gifted Education Month is January, so we'll do the resolution in December as they look forward to January being Gifted Education Month. And then number 7 is appointing, and draw your attention to that if you'll look at that. So World Languages Course of Study. So this will be our next course of study. You just got the presentation from the current course of study committee on digital literacy and computer science. So you'll do both in December. So we will bring that course of study to you for approval, but then we will bring a new committee to be appointed for next year to work in 2026. And it's going to be world languages. And I've asked one of Miss Manning's superintendents, John Moore from Leeds, to chair that committee. Dr. Moore also was a high school Spanish teacher, and so well versed in that work. And this is going to be one, so people say, well, world languages don't change, so why do you have to update the course of study? But there's, of course, work that has to be done, and we're really pushing world languages. Now, we're entering an even more global society, and we have even more international businesses coming to Alabama, and that's one of the things we get asked about. I get asked all the time about German. We don't have enough German classes. How do we get more German classes in our classrooms? I get asked about Korean. We are also getting some inquiries, not as much, but definitely some about Far East languages and Middle East languages, especially Arabic and Hindi and Chinese, because there are more international business partners using those, and so they're saying, we don't have any schools that are teaching these. We do have some schools teaching all the languages that I mentioned, and we have students who speak all of those languages. But as we go into 2026 thinking about world languages, we want to really focus on how do we provide more access to more students. To use the pun, access is the way we're doing that right now. So we have developed a lot of foreign language, or I'm not supposed to say foreign language anymore, world language courses through Access, so that if I do have one student in Colbert County who wants to take Arabic, that there is a way to do that. But that's really hard. Those of you who've tried to do, Duolingo or Babbel know that it's not so easy to learn another language just using a computer tutor. So we're trying to figure those pieces out, and this committee, that'll be a big charge of their work, is not just updating the standards, but helping us think about how we offer more world languages to more students. There is a list of critical languages for national security that the Department of Defense and various national security agencies are really pushing K-12 schools to embrace because they don't have enough interpreters and agents that speak those languages. And the ones I've just mentioned to you are all on that list. Korean's on the list, Chinese is on the list, Arabic's on the list. And of course, our most common second language is Spanish by far. And we'll continue to support Spanish, and we'll have more students taking Spanish than anything else probably for a long, long time. But for students who really excel in languages, we want them to have more opportunities too. So next month, all you'll be doing is appointing the committee. If you look at the attachment, you'll see the folks on there who in your area that are, go to page 2. There's every district has representation. This one is the one we like to also match up congressional districts, so you see both the congressional district and the board district. I'm not sure if all those board districts are right though. Did I get that? I think that, I'm not sure. You two, Miss Manning, Miss Moody, may share leads actually. Okay.
It's Miss Manning.
It's yours. Well, okay, my apologies.
He
Dave.
is my friend.
But he's your, yeah, well, okay.
The
My
ones that
apologies on
close.
that.
Yeah.
I know y'all are close. Okay, so District 3, John Moore, John's still gonna be our chair. I talked to him last week, he's very excited about it. But look down through there, everybody is represented. These are all of our K-12, most of them are language teachers or language experts. Some of them are bilingual themselves, but they're not a language teacher. So I know there's some like elementary teachers on here that don't teach world language, but they are bilingual. And then we have some university people. This is we'll also get some additional appointees from the governor that have to be confirmed by the Senate, and they'll be added in the spring as they'll go through this also. And those are usually people outside the K-12 world, so other folks. I'm sure there'll be some businesses that'll be interested in those. And then the last item on here is the calendar for 2026. So we have to adopt a calendar. Please pull that up in the December meeting each year. Is that right? I have to look. So we have, I'm going to pull it up right now and look going forward. Yes, the July, we're looking at July. It is the 14th. It's the latest it can fall maybe this year. So the July meeting has to be the second Tuesday. That's the only one the Constitution lays out. The board has to assemble in the capital city on the second Tuesday in July to elect officers. So that one is the 14th, depending, sometimes it's as early as the 8th, depending on when July comes in, but just kind of think about that. That's always an issue. The other month that'll be a problem next year, as it was a little bit this year, is November, because Veterans Day falls so close. I don't think it's on the 11th, is it?
It says the 12th.
It's the 12th. So Veterans Day will be the day before the board meeting, which always throws us off a little bit. But the year following, we have had this to happen, it happens cyclically. But when Veterans Day is the second Thursday, we'll have to find it. We'll either have to go back to the first or third Thursday or move to a Tuesday or something like that. But we didn't have any other days that fell on a holiday this year. There are 2 days, I think, that are really early, that like the October's one. The month comes in on the 1st, and so our meeting will be on the 8th. So just kind of look at that. Now, I say that, this is the proposed calendar. We're using the second Thursday, as we always do, but there is nothing that requires us to meet on the second Thursday, except that one in July, we have to meet on the second Tuesday. But if you see a big conflict and you want to move one of these around or something, we've got time to do that. We can also adjust the calendar during the year. Anything can be adjusted except the July meeting. But we do post these. Once the board adopts it in December, we go ahead and give them to the Secretary of State, so it'll be official when all of our meetings are. And then if we make changes, which we've done at least once before, but we have to really give out a lot of public notice because people just get used to the second Thursday. So just look at it, please, and see if there are any big conflicts that are going to cause a problem next year. Let us know. The retreat also, I moved the retreat around a little bit, and that was because I've gone to another screen now. I've got to go back.
It's on the 9th,
Yeah, look at that, and I would be glad to chat about that in just a minute. Pull it back up.
I think it was toward the end of the month.
It was. So one of the things we looked at, so the August retreat is our first, which we have a beginning of the year retreat, end of the year. But what we've tried to kind of do, as you know, the last 3 years, is have one in August and then one before the legislative session begins. We used to have it later in April or March, and then moved it back because at the time, board members felt like it was better to do it before the legislature goes into session. Then sometimes we've had legislators join us, as we are this year in January. But if we do it during the session, they never have joined us before, so we moved it back. There's nothing that says when they have to be. Inside the office, we thought about this because we had some concerns from board members about the travel, having to travel 2 times. So what if we brought you in like early on the day before the board meeting, so that would be Wednesday, and then we would work through that afternoon, have dinner that evening, and then the board meeting the next morning, and then we get the same, and then the work session after the board meeting. So we would have the same time, the same amount of time, but it would be 2 less travel days for board members to have to try to take off work and get to the meeting. So, so anyway, that's what we've proposed. Y'all rather do something different, or you want to move it back again to the last week of August, which is what we've done the last 2 years, maybe 3 years. We can certainly do that. But this is kind of what we were trying to think in the office, just responding to things board members had said to us. And that would also give us a little bit of a jump on the budget. Budget will be different next year, because we'll develop our request, but the budget itself will be developed by the new governor's transition team. And so they obviously won't be working on that until after the transition team doesn't go in place till after the election in November. So it'll be a really tight cycle. And that's why it used to be, until this session, this will be the first time that the first year of the quadrennium will start in February. Traditionally, all of my life, and I don't know how far it goes back, in the first year, they start in March. And the reason they start in March is to give the new governor a little longer runway to get ready for developing their first budgets. But the legislature, in this last quadrennium, they changed that calendar, and so in 2027, the new budget the 28 budget will start at the beginning of February instead of the beginning of March. So all that's to say, the new administration is going to have about 6 weeks to do the whole budget. So I want to make sure that we have our request and everything that we want, like all of our talking points and everything, really nailed down, because we're going to have a very short timeline working with the new administration in getting your priorities into their budget.
In preparation for working with that new group, will you be presenting to them our strategic plan and how we tie everything in our budget to our strategic plan, so that they understand there's been 8 years, almost 8 years of work.
Yes, ma'am.
To get to an 87 on our report card, to get to the fastest growing state in reading and math. So I really want
Absolutely.
the new administration to understand the work.
And I've already had a couple of meetings with one of the announced candidates' teams, multiple meetings, more than just a couple. And if other people announce their candidacy, I would open up that I would meet with anyone who's running, so they understand the history and where we are and what our plan is and how the budget fits with that. But most especially after the election, we will be, there'll be some long days, I'm sure, because there'll be new people coming in too. Sure. And learning both the process and the budget. And I think that's why it would be good to make sure, I know this is just 2 weeks earlier, but the earlier we get our priorities done and we have our discussion about things that you want to push for in the budget, so that we can have those conversations not just after the election in November, but leading up to the election.
Right.
So,
Sure.
yes, ma'am. Good point.
Thank you.
So just look this over. Again, if you see conflicts though, or you want to move things around, that's fine. We can do what we need to do. The July date does not conflict with mega conference again. So those of you who got to visit, go down to Mobile for mega, they were very thoughtful in making sure it's going to be the week after the board meeting. for next year also. And I really don't have anything much in my report. I know that you all got started and were able to talk about, and I walked in while Mrs. West was leading us in prayer, about our 3 board members. It's very bizarre that 3 board members have 3 very different medical situations all come up in a 12-hour period, but we'll keep them all in our prayers. We've been in touch with all of them this morning as they travel where they need to be. And I think that's about it. So I appreciate you all. Thanks for being patient. I'll tell you what now, I was worried about yesterday, but I've had 0 travel problems this week. But as I flew into Montgomery last night at 11 o'clock, I thought, I cannot believe everything has worked out perfectly. Because I had already checked to see if there were rental cars available in Houston if I had to drive through the night to get here. But I didn't, and thank y'all for being gracious about that. I'm sorry I missed both the luncheon and the dinner last night.
Well, we're sorry you missed. We missed you. But it was good. Both parts were good. Sally Smith always leads local school board members in great development, and it was a great one. Thank you all so much. Anybody have a question, comment? Thank you to our presenters today. Did a great job. This meeting is adjourned.
Have Thanksgiving lunch.